What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of a software engineer that's learning how to hack. My name is Metadata, and I have zero experience in cybersecurity or with hacking, and I want to learn everything there is to do with it, and I'm going to record myself live doing it. So just to catch you up, in case this is the first video you're watching, I am going through on TryHackMe.com a series labeled Pentesting Tools, where I'm learning all the different industry standards for penetration testing, the tools with that. This episode, we're going to be learning Hydra. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of context before we drill down into the specific room. I've already completed Nmap and Metasploit, so you can go back and watch those videos to learn alongside me, but we're gonna jump right into Hydra. You will need Kali Linux, since Hydra is, well, you don't need Kali Linux, but you need somewhere that has Hydra installed. It's easiest to have Kali Linux because it comes baked into the operating system. So we're gonna jump right into it. So I already have Kali Linux, or I already have Hydra, and I already checked by just typing in Hydra. So there we go, I've got Hydra. All right, so we need to start up a machine in order to be able to use this room effectively, or just use it at all. So right off the bat, I'm gonna go right back to this introduction here and move this to the top. And so basically what Hydra is, in case you're wondering, it's a tool that allows you to try to crack passwords for different types of system logins. So it'll use a brute forcing method. For those of you who don't know who or know what brute force don't know what brute force is, it's a method in which it tries repeatedly a bunch of different combinations until it finds one that fits. A simple example would be if you're trying to guess a 4-digit PIN. So your range is from 0000 to 9999, and so that brute force method would literally try every single one of those 10,000 combinations until it found the one. So that's essentially what it's going to do here for us. And you can see that it has lots of different protocols that it supports. Now, don't need to feel overwhelmed if you don't know what all those ports are or those protocols are. I don't know what all those protocols are. However, I've worked with a number of those. So some of the most common being SSH. There's some database ones in there. LDAP for Active Directory. Let's see what else. FTP for file transfer, HTTP, GET, POST, all of those. So some really common ones in there that works for. Doesn't work for all of them, but and then the key here being that it's going to be able to crack a password if a commonly used password. If it's a strong password, it either won't work or it'll just take forever to the point where it's not worth running. So it's going to be able to try to crack so for example, admin password, it's going to be able to crack that. So yeah, we have our machine up and ready. We have a IP address there. So first, the options we pass into Hydra depends on which service we're attacking. So for example, if we wanted to do FTP, that's port 21, we would want to actually pass in the FTP protocol. For the purpose of this deployed machine, and the one they set up for us, here are the commands to use Hydra to crack an SSH password, and then also a web form. So we would do Hydra-L username -P, the full path to the password, or a list of passwords, the IP you want, and then the number of threads. So that's amazing because if you have multiple CPU cores, that could utilize as many threads as it has. Then you can speed the process up by delegating this Hydra tool to be able to use multiple threads. And then if we wanted to post a web form, we pretty much do the exact same command, but you'll notice what's different. Instead of just SSH, you're going to see the IP and then HTTP post form, and then you're seeing they're sending a parameter. Actually, this whole string right here is the form data, and then -V is verbosity. Okay, you should, I don't have enough information, but that's the practice and brute force yourself. Credentials to the deployed machine. So we have a web password. What is flag 1? So we now have to brute force Molly's web password. So we're going to take this example from here. So we're going to run Hydra -L. So they said Molly, so I'm guessing that the username is Molly. And then indicates use the following password list. Well, that's the one part I don't know is what if you don't have a list of passwords? If I saw the introduction, I thought I saw somewhere. Make sure to change it from the default. Often cameras and web frameworks use admin:password as the default password, which is obviously not strong enough. So I might just try a lowercase p since that's an option. Lowercase p. Oh, let me get rid of this. There, it's showing up a little bit better. Okay. So Molly-P, the word password is what I want to look for, and then the IP. And then I want to look for some form data. So I want to basically try to crack that. I'm guessing these are just placeholders here. And password equals pass. And then basically the F equals incorrect. If this word appears on the page, it's incorrect. So kind of making assumption of the message that we get back. And if we wanted to check why we could just do admin and we can type in a bunch of random characters and type in login. And so we see the message here incorrect. And so that's why that's important. We want to put this F there to tell Hydra. That's the phrase we're looking for to determine whether or not it was a failure or not. So to like continue trying. So I'm thinking this is what it would work. Okay. So because we tried just one password, it did not find it. So it's cool that it ran. It's running. But yeah, there's definitely disconnect in the passwords here. I must have just not read something and glossed over where I need to actually include some type of password list here. And that's just a placeholder until I figure out what it is. I want to go back actually a little and give a little bit of context for how we're formulating this string to tell Hydra how to send in requests, because that actually is important. If that's not structured properly, you're not going to get a good result. So what you can do actually here is you can go into your developer console and you can actually check believe it's in network. So what you can do is you can do Molly and you can just do like TryHackMe as the password. Stop saving that. And what you'll do is actually look at the request it made. So you'll see it did a login/login. So that might actually be one of the sources of the issue. I wonder if this needs to have /login. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I don't know if it's smart enough to go to the page, because technically without /login, it's smart enough to know, the default route is /login. So that might work. But doing a post, and then what we'll be able to see here that the request sent this form data right here. So we basically just replicated that in our string. So the colon after, so we do colon username equals, and then the two little carets or whatever those are called in between with user in between tells Hydra to put the actual username into that field, and password equals, and the same thing for pass. So to put the password in there, and then the :F is to look for the incorrect word to continue retrying. So that's pretty much how we can determine how to basically form our Hydra command. Okay, I'm gonna look at the hint. If you've tried more than 30 passwords from rocku.txt, you are doing something wrong. Okay. Rocku.txt. Okay, I'm just going to, oh, if that's a true link, then I need to load that in here. So, you know, it makes sense that there's multiple. I'm gonna save that into downloads. All right, so let's rerun this. Hopefully, it doesn't have to sit there as long. So there are lists out there for okay, Rocky.txt, I finished. All right, so there are lists out there for different commonly used passwords. So the reason why it's so key to use a strong password is that there is a good chance if you use a not strong password that your password sits in a text file out there and someone can easily brute force one of your passwords. So hopefully we'll prove that to be true here in a second. Just curious, is it, let's just go into downloads and rocky.txt and see how large is it. All right, so there are, wow, there's lots of lines in here. Hopefully it's one of the ones in the beginning, like password 1 or something. The hint that we got was, what is the hint that we got? Where'd it go? The hint that we got was, if you've tried more than 30 passwords from Rocky, you're doing something wrong. So what they're saying is it's one of the first ones in here, and we should see that. So so yeah, it shouldn't take that long to get there if we use rocku.txt. So I'm going to give it a second to try and, because before I quit it after like 5 seconds. Let's see. We may not have this correct. I'm not sure if we need to have /login within our request, because that's technically the page that is sending it, even though, so here what I can do is I can take it out and it'll direct me to login and all in dandy, but so I'm still getting the login HTML. We will quit this and we'll try it one more time, but we'll do /login and see if we get, assuming that the password is Molly. Again, we've been told that brute force Molly's web password. I guess technically it could be admin. So we'll try this first. We'll try /login. We'll see if it works. Still not so sure about this previous session, but look at that. Okay, so it was the route. So you can see there that is very crucial to actually build your string of the data that you want to send or how you want to formulate your requests. So it was pretty much just taking a look at the developers console in the network tab and just confirming that the route to the actual login request is correct. It was a little confusing because the / default route takes you to login, so I wasn't sure if it needed to be explicit. In this case, it looks like it needed to be explicit. So boom, we got our password as Sunshine. So let's go ahead and sign in. Take away the developer's console. Got Molly, if I can spell, and Sunshine. Don't save. All right, there we go. We got our first flag. So as you can see, don't set your password as Sunshine, because I can easily, or an attacker could easily brute force that simply by just providing a text file of commonly used passwords, and boom. So something so simple you can do: create a strong password, and if you can't remember it, if you have trouble remembering strong passwords, get a password manager like LastPass or something like that. I use LastPass. No sponsor, but just personal preference. All right, so we're gonna take this and copy it, bring it back to here, and we should be good. Awesome. So we cracked Molly's web password. Now it's time to crack her SSH password. Okay, let's clear the console, clear conscious, and so we're gonna use the same exact password list because it's the classic rocku.txt, but in this case, we're gonna go back to the example to basically steal it from, and we're gonna do Hydra-L, assuming it's also Molly, assuming we also need the same rocku. And then in this case, it's just the IP, Kali Linux being nice to me. And then I want to do 4 threads at once and trying SSH. So simple as this, we're going to try to crack the SSH password. All right, so that wasn't too bad at all. Does it tell us how long it took total? It did not, but that took maybe 2 minutes max. And you can see that's just she's using for SSH another insecure password. So we cracked her. All right, let's get in there and find out what the flag is. So we just have to do basically SSH Molly at the IP address. Type in butterfly as the password. Did I type it wrong? I typed it wrong the first time. All right, so now that we're in, system looks like it's out of date, but there's a nice little flag 2.txt in there, so we're just going to print it out, and we got it. Come on. There we have it. There you are. So a nice little practice learning opportunity for a tool like Hydra. I don't think Hydra is the only brute force password cracking tool. I'm aware of for Wi-Fi cracking, there is AirCrack. I haven't used it yet, but I'm hoping that I get some experience here soon with it. We completed this room. We successfully got to know Hydra a little bit. As you can see, there's a common theme here that we just scratched the surface of what it can do, because it's so flexible that it can take in any amount of passwords, any amount of hosts, and it can support so many different protocols. So the power of the automation there is almost endless, if only it supported all protocols. But that's it for this video. Definitely a shorter one for sure. Hopefully a little bit refreshing that it's shorter. But next we're going to probably dive into some of the other types of rooms. So within the practice set of paths or series they call them, they have starters here. So we're going to dive into some of these independent challenges. that are considered starters, so I trust that they're starters. Someone with no experience like me, I'm going to hit all the free ones. I'm not paying for the VIP service, but we're going to hit some of these free ones. And so look out for videos for those. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe and the bell so that you can watch these when they come out and be learning alongside with me. So that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you have a great day. God bless. See you.